Twist.io.
Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of You Deserve Fresh Lettuce. I am your co-host Rachel.
And I'm Delia.
And welcome to season 2. We're super excited to have you. Don't forget to follow us on social media at YDFL Podcast. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, you can also ask Alexa
to play YDFL Podcast.
The You Deserve Fresh Lettuce podcast. Or you can check us out on YouTube.
And she'll play it from beginning to end.
Yes, she will.
All first season.
Yes, she will. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be talking about twin flames and soulmates and what we think about that. First of all, do we think it's real?
So we obviously had this whole conversation behind the scenes, and we do believe that it is like some kind of public stunt. It's media. It's just commercialized. It's kind of like thinking that, you know, you're going to get married and it's going to be like this beautiful, rosy, peachy thing. So that's our thought process when it comes to soulmates, and at least for me. I don't know. You speak for yourself.
That's what you and I were talking about. Yeah, I agree. I think that, and even just right now what we were saying off camera, it's like, it almost feels like, and this is the first time I'm having this thought, by the way, like, can it be a little bit of an attack on the relationship story? Meaning, in the past, right, people knew that they entered into relationships and they knew that they were going to be a little bit difficult. And there was romance, and there's a romantic side of it.
Yes.
But for the most part, people understood they you know,
there was going to be patches.
There's going to be rough patches. And that the ring symbolized, you know, kind of overcoming these obstacles and whatever, right? Like, till death do us part. But then now enter into the chat the twin flame and the soulmate thing, and now people are in whole ass relationships looking outside going, Where's my soulmate?
Where's my twin flame?
And then in their minds defining soulmate as like someone that's not problematic, or a relationship that there's no arguments.
Or a relationship where he automatically knows that she wants, you know, rose petals as she walks down the beach, and then he has reservations, and the yacht's going to pick her up, and the helicopter's about to swift her to an island somewhere far, far away in the Maldives or Maldives. And so I think that what happens is that it's been something that's been so commercialized, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, by the way. I'm just saying that if you're in a relationship, like, and you're constantly thinking that this is not it, and you're constantly looking for something outside of what you have, really, you know, like, gut check. Because see, I know that back in the day when people would actually get married, and there was like, you know, like the old grandparents or like the uncle and the aunt that had been married for 20, 25 years, what were the speeches like? Just know it's not always going to be easy, but you got to work through it. Nowadays, nobody wants to work through nothing.
It's like nobody wants to go through any pain in order to get the gain.
Nothing.
And, you know, I just feel like with the soulmate situation, we have to be very honest with ourselves, ladies.
Yes.
It's so easy to be romantic about the whole thing and whimsical about it and be like, I just want my soulmate. Well, let me ask you a question. What if your soulmate is this, like, little dude parking cars valet at, like, the local, you know, whatever, like, makes no money? Maybe maybe he's a beach bum. Like, I don't know. You don't know. A soulmate is not someone who definitely, like, who matches your financial goals.
Right.
It's just something within the spirit. I don't know. I haven't studied it too much.
Right.
But if you're truly all about, like, I'm going to find my soulmate, are you ready to surrender to that possibility that he's just this random guy that's not even maybe like your type or whatever?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, they do say that your soulmate supposedly is someone that you see instantaneously. There's like sparks, and you've known each other forever.
Yeah.
And I've talked to people that felt that initially, and then they end up getting divorced anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you even explain the soulmate twin flame when you're still going through a divorce? Why? Because in my opinion, I feel like everyone's out for bigger, better, and that's just the perfect excuse to say, he wasn't my soulmate, so I divorced him. And then you're on to the next one. It's like, well, I'm looking for my twin flame. Like, how would you ever even know that that is your twin flame? And then not to mention, you know, respectfully to anyone and whatever they desire, but I don't understand, like, what about, you know, gays and lesbians? Do you automatically assume it's, if you're straight, it's a heterosexual man? If you're gay, then it's another gay man? Like, how do you describe and how do you break down the fact that it's like he's my soulmate or my twin flame. How do you? I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like that process is a little bit confusing to me.
Complicates
It's
everything.
just
like
complicated.
I think if you just focus on what you know you don't want in your life,
right?
That's his first start.
Right.
Second of all, what would be nice to have, and then what's an absolute need, you know?
Right.
And I think that you align yourself, and we talk about this in almost every episode,
all the time,
with the things that are authentic to you,
yes.
and then you find people with similar interests, right? And then of course there's like chemistry,
right,
and all these things you can't control. But I will say I personally feel like it complicates things, just like I feel like astrology complicates things.
Oh my gosh,
and I'll tell you why.
Does it ever?
I am a Pisces, if anybody cares, but I was married to a Scorpio, and if you look at anything, because my ex, who's a Scorpio, was very fascinated with the whole astrology. He's fascinated with anything that's dark and mysterious, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm all like me. Just kidding.
Dark
and mysterious.
Mistress of the dark.
So he used to read all these books and stuff, and when I would take a look or ask him, it was so funny because he would say, hey, it says that we're like this true love match and all this kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. Listen, we met countless couples who were also the same as us. Pisces was Scorpio.
Right.
I just feel like if you're even looking at that stuff, you have to understand that might be some sort of energetic connection for sure. But when I tell you, you're still going to have arguments. You're still going to have challenges. This person still has their upbringing, coming to the table, like adultery can still be a thing.
Yeah.
Like you just don't even know. So I feel like these external whimsical things are complicating what our idea of what a relationship looks like is, or what work we got to bring to the table is.
Right. But I think what it has to do, I think with what you're saying and adding to that is the fact that if you open up your social media, and I'm sure that our phones are listening currently, and that we're going to see it a lot more when we get off of this talk.
Yeah.
But everything's like, do you know if that's your soulmate? Is that your twin flame? And blah, 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 blah. These are 9 signs that you know you met your twin flame. And it's all the obvious things that you think that a person's supposed to make you feel. But lately I have heard, because I used to hear something like, a man that you really want and desire should give you butterflies, right? And then now they're actually switching and turning those things around, saying, if you get butterflies when you see a man, that means that your spirit's telling you to run, and that you're actually getting nervous because you need to run away. So this is completely opposite from what I was ever taught or knew from school. Like, oh my God, he gives me butterflies. Or like when you were a teenager or in your 20s. And now all of a sudden it's like, if he gives you butterflies, run the other way.
Yeah, so we're going to take something that worked for generations upon generations upon generations of marriages that lasted forever. And we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to flip it on its head in a time where people just don't stick it out. Yeah. I just feel like, when you get a gut feeling, there's bad feelings and there's good feelings.
Yeah,
and I think
and you know how to.
And I think as women, we're smart enough to figure that out. And to have some kind of guru or anybody trying to convince us otherwise is like a little bit like off kilter for me, because I think to myself, well, who is that person to tell me that butterfly feeling, which I love to get,
supposed to be
is actually my soul saying, get behind thee, thy Satan. Like, there is a difference. I've had that feeling too. I've had the feeling of like, I really don't need to be
around
in this man's car right now.
Ooh, yes.
You get the alarms.
You do. All of a sudden, and you're not like, oh my gosh, I really don't need to be in this car with this man. You're like, but he's my soulmate. You know what I mean? He's my twin
I feel like he could be a serial killer,
but he's
my soul. Yeah,
it's like he's my soulmate though, so I got to stick it out. Yes. We're going, it's a ride or die, literally ride or die.
Ride or die.
But it's because it's been so freaking commercialized.
Yes.
And I mean, hey, we might come back on here in the next 20, 30 episodes. Be like, we But as of right now, I feel like I've heard stories like where, old school men would be like, that girl walking in, that's going to be my wife.
100%.
Like, that's, don't even know her name, and never met her, never nothing, just saw her walking and said, I'm going to marry that girl.
Steve Harvey tells an excellent story about, he was married at the time, But he tells an excellent story about the woman that he's married to now, that he saw her, and it was like 8 years before, and he said, I don't know who, she came in late to the comedy show, and said, excuse me, I don't know who you are, I don't know where you came from or what you're doing showing up late to my show, but I'm going to marry you one day. And he looked at her, and till this day they're married. That's the one that gets to enjoy the best life with him.
Right. That's like the second wife.
Third one, I think, for him, you know? But I think at the end of the day, we can't argue with the fact that when men know, they know. We don't have to, like, convince them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when it comes to our spirit, you know, that's why faith, you know, this podcast was essentially built on this faith principle, because we said a prayer that changed the trajectory of our lives. Regarding our relationships. And I think that when you get a sense about somebody, there's been a few times, let me tell you, including the person I married or whatever, that the moment you looked at them, something ignited in you. It's like lightning strikes, and I've had that happen a few number of times. It's wonderful when it happens. Even then, I've had to, like, pray on it for discernment, and I've had to, like, just really lean into my faith and go, I know you'll show me. I know you'll guide me. I'm not going to open some astrology book or read the signs, the top 5 things you'll know from your twin flame, because it complicates things. And I do lean into my faith that will tell me and direct me. And usually then I'll see something that is not very pleasant.
I think what happens is also we get so caught up with the astrology, and then, you know, now I know we talked about this recently about the whole having the initial on the left thumb. That's been on my For You page. And so let's just say I meet a person that has a different supposed initial from the wrinkly thumb. And I'm like, there's no way he's my twin flame, because I'm supposed to be with an M or a W or whatever it is.
If you're dragging your left hand on your thumb, it's supposed to have like a letter. The other day when we talked about it, I saw like a J or an F, and now I see like a T or an H. I don't even know.
I don't either. And so my point is that you're going off of these stupidities, in my opinion, okay, of like what it's supposed to say here or in your palm or on your freaking pinky, and that could change here in the next like couple of months, and all of a sudden you're like, it can't be him, because I'm supposed to be with a person with a letter M or a J. And you know, and I just feel like if it feels right, you just go with it, and don't think that it's always going to be amazing, because there's always work to do.
And most of the time the work is on you. You go into a situation and you think, oh my God, if only he did this, or if I can get him to do that, or if I can get... No, honey. Look at yourself and get to work. Like, legit, look at yourself and get to work. And if you start there, it's equivalent to the whole, like, being on an airplane and the oxygen mask drops, and you got to put air on yourself first before you can help anyone else,
including little children.
Yep, you gotta work out that mess within yourself.
Amen.
Before you could even have the audacity to look at your partner and go, honey, I'd really appreciate it if you stopped doing X, Y, Z, or why didn't you buy me flowers,
or why didn't you do this, or why don't
you're
you
not
do
romantic
that?
enough, blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Well, you got to kind of step it up too, in order, you know, you have to lead the way in order for the person to know which way you're leading to.
Yes.
And then if you are single, don't go around thinking that someone's supposed to make you feel some type of way.
No.
Because you are supposed to make yourself feel
It's
that type
not
of way.
his job to make you happy at all. This is a person that's going to take the life journey with you. He's going to have his own interests. You should have your own interests. If you have similar interests, fantastic. But as far as the soulmate thing, I think that you, like Delia said, how do you even know what's real, what's not real? I know there's a lot of intuitives and people that do this stuff, but if you feel wonderful around this person, and they represent a way of thinking and a way of behaving or whatever, conducting themselves that aligns with who you see yourself being, then you know what? That's fantastic.
And you know what? Going back to the twin flame thing, I think also back in the day there was a 7-year itch, which we've talked about, by the way. 7-year itch was for back in the day when people actually lasted a long time, say like an average of like a lifetime. So that was pretty common. Nowadays it's 2.5 years itch. Why? Because people aren't lasting that long. They're not married for that long of time. But what happens is these people go into this marriage thinking that that person's supposed to make me feel some type of way. He's my twin flame. He's my soulmate. All of a sudden, the reality hits because you're doing life, and then it's like, he's not my twin flame. He's not my soulmate. You get divorced, and you're constantly looking for the next twin flame and soulmate without realizing, work out your perks. Work out your perks. There is no soulmate. There is no twin flame.
She said you're doing life. Life.
Like literally life. Well, you are doing, no, but like legit, you're doing life
together.
You're doing life together. Not like life in prison. I mean, I hope it's not like that. It could be for some people.
Yeah.
You know, but I think you're doing life with someone. Like, okay, you have an understanding on how you live your life. Okay, in the mornings, this is what we do. On Saturday mornings, we go for a jog or gym, whatever it is. You're doing that life with somebody.
I saw a post. Oh my God, this guy was a genius. And it made me really realize that us women were too caught up in the subliminal signs of the universe. And what it was he was giving men advice, and he's all, fellas, if you want to lock her down, text her at exactly 11:11.
Oh my gosh, I saw
right?
that. I did
or
see that.
Or do whatever, or like 777.
Like,
and then he's like, have the text ready, and then hit send, and then so she'll say, oh my God, it's a sign. And so fellas, the Fab 15 that are watching, you guys, man, try it. I guess it might work. But women were too like, oh my God, look at it must be a sign. And it's just the way we are. We're very spiritual beings, right? We're naturally kind of intuitive.
And then I think that right now, with everything that's going on with the world, I think that that's the only thing that we can kind of rely on is like, well, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And the moon. And then it's like the retrograde. And I saw someone saying, like, making jokes, and they're like, the Gatorade hit. Like,
not the Gatorade.
So, and I think everyone talks about, like, these different feelings and emotions, and they're trying to justify and excuse their bad behavior. Like, I've heard people say, well, I'm just a Libra, or I'm just a Scorpio. Yes. It's like, no, Susan, you're just a bitch.
not the bitch ass Susan.
Right? It's like they're trying to excuse their bad behavior. It's like, no, that's just who you are. Like, don't blame it on your sign. I mean, I'm just a Taurus. I'm just being a bitch.
Listen, we're all here to learn. This is like a training ground. And if you identify your issues, you are meant to work that out and evolve. You're not meant to like...
And teach people too, though. And teach others.
So it's like evolve. Don't sit there and just go, well, these are my...
This is what it is.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Take it or leave it. And I'm not going to change. And he needs to change for me. I'm not going to change for anybody.
And then 3 baby daddies later, you're like, when am I going to meet my soulmate?
And then
you're like... Guys are like, soon, honey. His name's Jesus.
Jesus. Right? And it's not the guy working on the field.
That's your soulmate.
Yeah, no.
You're out here. Waiting so long.
Yeah, it's
like, what the heck?
And that's the problem. That they're thinking somebody else is going to fix the problem, and or they think that it's not them that's the problem, it's the guys that are the problems. After you've been with 3-4 guys, and there are 3-4 different baby daddies.
You've been divorced or married or baby daddies or whatever, and then you're still out there looking for your soulmate. Think about, again, let's look back at our grandmothers, and I know it's a different time, but if we look back at them, what did they choose a guy for? They go, is he a good provider? Oh, he kind of has a nice smile.
They have maybe a good family. They come from a good family.
It's those types of things, and they weren't thinking like, oh, he's my soulmate. And also they weren't marrying them and then going, what? This is boring, or he's just a jerk. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'll go find my guy.
He doesn't make reservations at a restaurant. He's like, that wasn't it. And now it's like, it's so hard. And then not to mention a lot of, this is going on tangent though. This almost doesn't have nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I think nowadays too, a lot of the women are like, I could do for myself. I don't need a man. So that happens a lot too. And then, but you're constantly looking for somebody else, like the twin flame, and you're looking for the soulmate. You're like, I could do for myself.
Astrology and all that kind of stuff. Listen, you got God. Go to the man. He's the ultimate relationship counselor.
He's the ultimate relationship guru. I mean, that's why we're here, because you know what? At the end of the day,
we prayed on it,
and hey, everything that we wanted to know, we found out real quick.
Oh yeah,
within a month.
It becomes like undeniable. You want signs? You don't got to go and crystals or whatever people are doing. It is so crazy with social media. It is normalizing so many new age things that it actually makes me so uneasy, because there's so many wonderful women out there that are wholesome, wonderful, kind women, and they're doing these things because it seems so normal to do and so
Right.
natural. And I keep thinking, like, don't focus on that stuff. You know
The
what I mean?
supernatural
It's
stuff,
like the
yeah.
new age stuff,
The
you
new
know,
age
because
stuff,
there
yeah.
is a supernatural thing that happens. But
Right.
if you choose your source, he's
From
gonna
the
guide
source.
you, right? He's gonna guide you, and you're gonna be fine. Listen, if he makes you laugh, this is what I always say. I used to have this big old list. I'm
Yeah.
like, when I first got divorced, I was like,
Yeah.
massive checklist.
Right.
I know we made one, right? A 20-point list. It was kind of hard to make.
Yeah, it was
but
hard.
really, when I break it down, is he a kind person at the core of it? Because masculine guys, which I like, can be jerks.
Mm-hmm.
But at the core, is he genuinely
Can
a
you
good, a
rely
kind
on it?
person?
Do you feel safe?
Is he a good provider? And then does he make me laugh? Like
Are you safe? Are you protected?
Yeah.
That's what
It's
you
like
know.
it's narrowed down.
Right.
And now if these other things come into play, fantastic. Soulmate, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. And we may come back on here again the next 25 episodes and be like, guess what? I found my soulmate. It's real.
Especially
Real.
the twin flame thing. Here's the thing. The twin flame thing
Did you
gives me
about
the
the whole
impression.
four? Did you saw how it's like two heads with four legs and like two bodies coming together, and that they basically what they're saying, the way that they're describing it is, there's two entities
It's a
that
paper
are
mache
together,
of you, like.
and then it splits, and then all of a sudden, like, your soul, your twin flame goes off to the universe, and you're like, where is he or she? And then all of a sudden you're looking for that twin flame that split, and then 3 baby daddies later,
Not 3 baby daddies later.
you come to
He
realize,
comes back all crinkled up. Here I
yeah,
am.
you know, here I am. Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what kind of creeps me out about the twin flame thing is I am not looking for a male version of me.
Right.
And
Right.
so often as women, we're like, if we only had someone that... No. Like, someone's got to be the man. Someone's got to be the woman. Like,
unless
unless
it's different.
and
for
even
you.
if you're the same sex, there's the who's on top and who's not. Like, there's tops and bottoms. Like, there's
Yeah, that's
still
true.
that energy, right?
Right,
It's a
that's true.
push-pull and stuff like that. And so to me, I'm like, I'm not looking for someone who's... I'm kind of emotional, and
Right.
I'm a little bit like a scaredy cat. There's all these things. So I need someone that's literally my yang, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
The yin and
Yeah.
yang, and who's like the opposite. And we talk about it too, like in business.
Right.
Dahlia's different than I am. That we have similarities that bind us together, that we go, oh, we could do this.
Right.
But we're different in just the
In a
perfect
lot
amount
of
of
things,
ways that works.
Right.
And stuff like that. And in a marriage, it's no different. So when you are saying twin flames, I go, is this like me with a mustache and a beard and like a penis?
And
or
long
is this
hair.
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, what in the world
What
are we
in the
talking
world?
about here? No thanks.
No, I don't know. Yeah, so if you're going to ask us, we believe, just work out your perks. Really try to make the person that you're with, that you chose, let that person be your twin flame and your counterpart.
Focus on the good stuff that they
like,
have.
not just like, oh, he's not the one. He doesn't do this. Like,
He just
really?
sits on the couch watching Animal Planet. Well, he could be, at the club with his homies or whatever. Like,
Popping
you know what I mean?
bottles.
You got to
Yeah.
find the bright
Hood rat
side.
models.
And men, if you're listening, you got to find the bright side in her too.
Always. So,
Yeah.
anyway, we confused you guys, I'm sure. So, in other words, just go to higher power, pray on it.
Yes.
God's going to show you. Don't go to
And if you
abracadabra
know,
stuff.
yes.
It's
And if
not
you know
gonna
something
work.
we don't and we missed the mark on this, jump in the comment. Listen, we
Yeah.
love your DMs, but say it in the comments. It boosts the algorithm. It gets people in the
Let us
conversation.
know what you feel. We may be
Yeah.
wrong, and you may say, hey, I've been with this man for 40 years, and I know he's like my twin flame. We were in this universe like 5 times over and over again. I'm not going to
Man.
sit there and question it if that's what you believe. I just think it. You just got to go to the higher power.
That's it. That's it.
So
All right.
anyway.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
And
this week. And guess what?
what
Don't
you deserve.
forget that you
Fresh
deserve fresh
lettuce.
lettuce. Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers.